Welcome, Bianca. Thank you so much for your time today and for doing this, little interview with me. But like I said, just going to be super casual, just a conversation, just me and you. And yeah, if there's anything you want to just ramble on about or go in detail about, please feel free. This is really a conversation about you. I want to learn more about you because I believe that a lot of other females out there can get a lot of inspiration and motivation from you and your story and what you've been able to do. So that's what I want to showcase today is we're going to brag about Bianca a little bit.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So to open up, who is Bianca outside of this, fitness journey? Talk me through like an everyday day in your life, like your schedule, what do you do for a living, all that kind of stuff.
So, I'm an accountant. I originally started as a paralegal and then decided to shift off into the accounting world. And I've been in this world for, I guess, now like about 17 years almost. And it is like my biggest passion outside of being a mom and, family and everything else. I decided to go back to college for accounting after I had my son already. And so, when I decided to do that, it like jump started this whole life plan for me that I just didn't even know existed. So I was doing college, I was working full time, I was still bartending, I was still trying to be a mom, being a wife, trying to make life happen. And so I don't know if I've always been somebody who's a go-getter and a pusher and stuff, but it really, really lit something up inside of me. And I wanted to help in any which way that I could. And I just wanted it to be in the accounting field. Couldn't quite figure out exactly what it is that I wanted. So I spent some time working private, public, healthcare, nonprofit. And I finally decided that I wanted to start a business because I wanted to help business owners in a way that other people kept telling me that I couldn't do. So I started a business in 2020 and we went live with it in 2021 and we've been actively going since then. So my life since then to now has completely shifted. In that time, I'll kind of go backwards and share some other details. But since then, so now we run a business. We've got some great, amazing staff. I spend all day working pretty much right now. I still do make really good time for my son, for myself, my friends, my family. And so it's just gotten a little hard trying to maneuver everything around. But day to day, honestly, like I can be up at 5 a.m. and I am working at 5 a.m. already. And then I, pre-set my son, get him going. He started a job this summer, so now I'm running him around. And that's been a little bit tough. My days are spent with people all day. Aside from the staff, I've got clients, I've got meetings. I can fill up an 8-hour day speaking with people all day long. So it makes it a little bit difficult because then I have to spend my afternoons actually doing work. And so my nighttime is not really about me right now. It's more about the business itself still and still trying to grow it. We have made some really good implementations in the business world. So I feel like it's helping me in my personal life too, just try to stay more organized and put that me time first.
Yeah.
So anyway, we stay really busy. I work really late at night and that's more of my hands-on stuff that I'm doing. The business is still fairly new. So there's a lot of revenue that I have to generate for myself if so a lot of the staff just isn't there yet. And so they're not able to generate a lot of their own revenue and I have to cover that for them still. So okay. I spend pretty much my whole day working. I leave to pick up my son. I feed him. He hangs out with me. We are part of a run club. So we go to a run. I go to the gym every day. I go back to the office, still come home. I have a house to take care of, laundry, cooking, meal prepping, all the things that have to happen. And then, still, like I said, family, friends. And aside from that, there's so much administrative work that goes into it. So I feel like my life recently has just been a little different and it's consumed by the business more than anything else. So this and meeting you and getting more involved here, it really just grounded me again because I was literally getting lost in the business and it took over so much of my life. And I'll stop there for that one and then we can kind of continue because I do have so much to share, but we'll go in segments.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. You are one of the busiest people I know personally, and yet you have never given one excuse or reason why you couldn't do this, or like you make it happen. And I love that go-getter mentality about you. If there's something you want, like you're gonna make it happen. Not to mention, like you said, starting your business, you're still a mom. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna go do a weekend trip to a concert a client invited me to. Okay. And oh yeah, I also also want my bike license too. So you're doing classes for that. Like you just have no stop pause button at all. And I love that. So before we started working together, what had you already tried to do in your health and fitness journey that maybe didn't work?
So everything, but it was definitely relying on myself. And whenever I was relying on myself, then it just became I would let the business or my family life or whatever take over before me. And so one
Mm,
of my biggest issues has been that I put everybody else before myself. And that really was in my fitness journey, like from the beginning. So I have always been like really big into, I was into CrossFit when it first came out. I was into the gym. I was part of working out with fitness groups. And the time constraints on those were really difficult for me because it would be like, you have to be here at 5 every day. Like, let's say CrossFit. It was like, you have to be here by 5:15. I wouldn't leave my office till 5. That's when we got out of work. I'd have to still pick up my son, still come all the way back. Traffic here in our town is insane. And I would get there late. And then they would be like, well, now you have to do 20 burpees. And it felt like this, like, constant, I'm getting pushed down when I was trying to like grow myself. But then it was like, if I can't make this happen for myself here, then maybe this isn't my fit. I even did like boxing classes too. You know, my son and I did boxing last summer, early into this year. And even that got a little hard because as much as I want to stay on a structured schedule, because I am the business owner, I am still a worker, I am a manager, I am a mom, things can change from day to day. And then when I have something that relies on me like that, it makes it really, really hard for me to just stay consistent all the time. So I think that's where I would fail is I would let that happen one day after another day. And then before I knew it, I was like, oh my God, I haven't been in the gym in a week or 2 weeks or whatever the case may be. And then on top of that, I wouldn't eat. I would spend a whole day in an office and then it'd be like 16 hours. And I'm like, I think I may have had breakfast, but I'm not sure, you know, or whatever the case may be. Or I don't think I ate. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't think I had water today because I didn't want to go use the restroom. Or
dang.
it was just this constant thing that was happening. So I would find myself starting and stopping my journey quite often. And then I would go and, you know, try to hit it hard for 2 to 3 weeks, get myself so sore where I couldn't move. And then I would fall off again and I would restart. And it was just a
Yeah.
fail, a constant fail.
Yeah, okay. So going through all that, all this trial and error of just like, spinning your wheels, at what point when did you realize like what I'm doing isn't working or maybe even making things worse? If I'm not eating all day, that's not helping anything. At what point was like enough, enough?
So in 23, I got my first little kick in the butt with psoriasis. And prior to this, I've always been very healthy as far as like skin issues. I've never had any like blood lab work that was came back horribly. Back when I was like 14ish, I was having a lot of issues with like my womanhood and all these other things. They had told me can't be mom. It was all this stuff. And so when I had my son, it was a really big shock. But aside from that, like I hadn't had any other health issues aside from like endometriosis and things that were more internal. But in 23, I got hit with psoriasis and it started off as one small little red spot on my neck. And it was tiny, but it was enough to like, it burned and it hurt. And I was like, oh, I must have an allergic reaction. Well, that just went downhill. And within a matter of weeks, it was consumed my whole neck, my back, my shoulders, my arms, my legs, my torso, my face. And then it
Dang.
started into my hair and it completely like scabbed up all over my hair. And in 2019, I had decided that I was going to go all natural with my hair. And so I had just started my curly hair journey. I was loving my hair, letting it be its natural color. And then in 23, by the like maybe November of 23, I had pretty much lost all my hair. And I'm not talking like just like little bald spots. No, I had hair that was just 2 inches long or 1 inch long in areas. There was bald spots. Aside from that, my face and my skin was completely shot. And it was just this constant like having to try to fix itself. Well, I went to dermatologists, I went to the doctors, I had lab work done, I went to holistic health. I was trying everything to try to fix it, and I realized that everything that they were giving me was very much topical and nobody was giving me anything that I could fix internal. And so I started doing my own research and I realized that a lot of these autoimmunes come from like gut health and all these other things internally, plus the stress that I was dealing with the business. So I was like, I have to figure something out. But in 23, something else happened. We lost my son's dad. And so he had a hemorrhagic stroke and it was a really, really hard time. He was in a coma for 9 days and then he passed away. So now I'm dealing with my psoriasis. I am now dealing with the loss of my kiddo's dad. And then I'm dealing with being a single mom, still having a business, still trying to make everything else happen. And I was like, I have to figure something out. In 24, I decided I'm going to do something for myself. And I started trying to eat a little bit better. I went down a path of like medical median. I was like literally eating papaya and bananas all day, doing a heavy metal detox. It didn't completely take it away, but I did notice that there was a significant difference. So I was like, there has to be something with this. And it might have seemed obvious to, the outside, like eat better and it'll fix it. I couldn't find the specific foods that would fix it, but then I was still having like these flare-ups. I was still dealing with the stress. Like there was still a lot of stuff happening. I had been homeschooling my son prior to that. So I decided in 24, he's going back to school because that was like one thing that I could not handle anymore was still homeschooling. So that was like one step. I sent him back to public school and we said, we're going to start here. And then I just kind of went down that little hole of let me try to fix whatever I could. And so I did. I started just trying to work myself back. But in the entire year of like 24 to 25, they had me on steroids. So I had been on prednisone for an entire year, which is horrible to so many of your body parts. And aside from that, I had weight gain, but it was the only thing that was controlling the flare-ups. And so at that moment, it's what felt important was if I could keep the hurt away, then I can figure out the rest later. So I kind of went through 25 with that. So in September of 25, I decided no more steroids, no more anything. I needed to figure this out. Yeah. So then I spent the last few months of the year trying to figure stuff out for myself. And I knew, I was like, I have to have somebody from the outside help, but I didn't know who or where to reach out to because I felt like I had already been through so many different, I don't know, like avenues of trying to get help, doctors, this, that. I mean, even like the holistic health, like they kept trying to give me like, do this 10-day detox and do this other day detox. And I'm like, no, but like what can help internally? And so at the beginning of 26, I happened to come across one of your videos and your personality actually is what caught my, I don't know how it, like you came up on my FYP on TikTok, but your personality and the way you were talking really caught my eye. And I was like, so I stopped and I listened to what you were saying. And that video specifically had to do with like women's health and all this stuff. And so then I went down a rabbit hole of your videos and I started liking a few of your videos. And then I'm like, I'm going to follow him, which I'm not a big like follower on social media of people, but I was like, I'm going to follow him because I found what you were saying very interesting. And within that week, you reached out to me and now we're here. So now we're mid-June.
Awesome.
I mean, mid-2026. So that's how we got here.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Thank you for like all the context too. That definitely helps paint the whole picture. So since then, also we've had one major psoriasis flare up that we've kind of figured out was due to the dairy, right? This new dairy allergy. But aside from that, you've been on top of it and haven't had any major flare ups at all this year. Is that correct?
Correct. So I actually hadn't had a major flare up until last week. And it may have been partially dairy, but I kind of may have done this to myself too. So prior to that, 2 weeks before that, I was working till like 3, 4 in the morning for these audits that were coming up. And so my sleep went down to literally 2 to 3 hours a day, if even that.
Dang.
The dairy allergy that I had, I don't know exactly where that even came from, but it caused the flare up. And so I did have to jump back on steroids and it's a 2-week treatment. The only one I'm going to take, it's already come down. I'm not hurting anymore. But before you, like I would have let the prednisone happen and then I probably would have still continued on my route of working really late. Like I kept falling backwards because I would put the business first or I would put something else first. And so now I'm like, oh yeah, no, there's somebody watching or there's, I've got somebody that I have to put this information to. So it's a little different. And I think my mindset change during the time that I've met you and I've been in this program has really helped because it does like, I kind of get out of my little usual circle that I have. And then I allow myself to fall back into those old cycles of like working a lot. And then I have to remind myself like, no, you're doing this for you. Like you made a choice. Yes. And then I bring myself back. But prior to that, I was very much like that mindset was not there. I just was like, I'll figure it out later and it'll fix later or whatever the case may be. So yes, I did have the flare up. It only lasted major for probably about 6 days. where I was like really struggling. Right now I'm okay, I'm great, and it didn't come up into my hair or anything. It was just literally on my neck this time and the bottom of my face. So I'm so thankful, and I have like changed the food. I took out the dairy right
Yeah.
now. I'm having to make some changes, but I'm not giving up hope.
Yeah, 100%. I love that. Love that. So good. Oh man, I didn't know about the night of no sleep. You didn't mention that to me. We can't be
I
doing
think
that.
I know, I know.
That's rough. I mean, especially working until 3 and 4 a.m. But I mean, I get it. It's a season you're in, and as long as like you're aware of this, like that's not sustainable forever. So if we have to pull those kind of cards out here and there, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, we would definitely want to manage that. Don't let it happen again for a few weeks at least.
Well, and I will tell
So
you, like in the past, if I would have let that happen, I wouldn't have made the time to go to the gym. I wouldn't have made the time to still eat my food. I would not have done that.
yes.
And so for me, I'm like, okay, I messed up, but then I'm like, I'm still going to the gym. I'm still doing this. I'm still doing that. And I think that accountability from you comes into there because I'm telling you, I would not have done that before. I would have fallen off completely and I would have let it go for a month and then been like, oh, let me start over.
Yep.
So
100%. Love that. Okay, good. Good. I'm glad the accountability is there and it's working for you then. So, moving on from the psoriasis, you also came to me with some pretty significant digestion problems going on. So, kind of walk me through what that looked like and what your kind of day to day looks like now since joining the program.
So a whole lifetime of not being able to use a restroom. And I know that's really TMI, but that's how it was. I could go 3 weeks, a month with no restroom at all. And the amount of pain that that would cause was insane to the point where then I would end up just taking like magnesium citrate. I would take one bottle, I'd wait 4 to 6 hours. I would take another bottle, I'd wait 4 to 6 hours. I would take another bottle, I would wait. And then it could be a day or two before I would even use the restroom by then. And by then I'm hurting. I'm like bending over in pain. I'm horrible. My head hurts, everything. And so I knew that I had something. I knew it was definitely gut, stuff related that I couldn't process certain foods. I've had two colonoscopies and they had told me like you just have a sluggish colon, and I'm like that just can't be it. Like what do you mean I have a
Yeah.
sluggish colon? And the way that they explained it to me, which was super TMI, but they said everything would work up until it got to the end, and I couldn't get that last muscle to work everything out. And so I'm like, what do I need to do? They were like, drink more water, do, this. It didn't help. Like, it was not helping. I had been doing this stuff for years. I would take certain greens or I would take certain things, but where I was failing was I was only doing it when I was already in pain.
Yeah.
So I was very much reactive to the situation and I wasn't staying on top of it. Since starting with you, I've been eating the same stuff for 5 months now. So whatever, like it's either all the nutrients and all the food, maybe me making it myself, or I don't know, whatever the case may be, the greens plus all the supplements, I am going to the restroom. And I'm still not a daily user for sure, but I am very, very much more consistent. I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't gone in a few days. Like that's not normal. But now I even get like the feeling of going. Before that wouldn't happen. I would not get like, oh, you have to use the restroom or anything. So digestion has been great, which also has been such a big help for the skin issues. And,
Yeah.
aside from like moving on from psoriasis, it's still such a big part of it because that's where a lot of that, your skin issues come from is your bad gut health. So
Yeah.
now that I'm able to get some of that stuff out, and if you think, okay, if I don't use the restroom for a month, what did I consume in that month? That stuff could be in there forever and you have no idea, like the toxins that are being released into your body. And
Yep.
I would get certain food allergies sometimes and I wouldn't know specifically to what because I didn't know what I was digesting during that time because of
Yeah.
it was so far back. And so now it's like I haven't had like the aside from the dairy allergy, excuse me, that I was having, I haven't really had any other issues aside from this one major flare up. And the fact that my pants are fitting, and I'm not hurting, that's like the biggest thing. It's my
Yeah.
biggest win is that I can use the restroom. I feel great. I would hear people say like, I'm going to eat and then I'm going to go to the restroom. I'm like, I wish I knew what that felt like because I had never
Yeah.
experienced that in my life.
Yeah, no, that's huge because I mean, for me, when I travel, my digestion fluctuates big time. I think that's pretty common actually. But even a day or two extra for me without having a bowel movement, it is painful. So I couldn't imagine 3, 4 weeks of that because you're right. That's just causing a lot of toxicity in your body. And yeah, so much of our overall health is derived inside the gut microbiome. And when it's full of bad gut bacteria, man, it's just a bad, bad scenario. So good. I'm glad we've got that like really under control now. Dang. So along with all that, what's been the biggest kind of mindset shift for you in the first, couple of months that you had that maybe surprised you?
I think discipline, and it's so weird to say that because I've been disciplined in everything else in my life, but I wasn't with my own self. And
That's good.
realizing that all these things that relied on me and the discipline that was important for everything else, without me being disciplined with myself, I wasn't going to make any of that happen. So I think if I could take anything, that's probably the biggest thing away from this, is that I'm doing this for me. It's a discipline for myself, the consistency too, because like I've said, I would fall off and whatever the case may be. But this, it's not only with my fitness, like this has changed in so many different aspects of my life, even with the family that, takes too much from you, and from the friends that just rely too much, or whatever the case may be. And it's like learning to put that boundary first. And I used to hear other people do it, and I would think like, oh, they're being selfish, or they don't care about trying to help someone else. And I didn't realize that there was like how much other people can drain you. So, and saying all that, I would say that that's probably the biggest thing, is just putting myself first, and taking control of my own life back.
Love that. I love that. We only have so much energy in a day, right? And when we're letting everybody pull from it, we have none left to pour into ourselves. And so, yeah, that's huge. When you can make that mindset switch to realize like, oh man, I need to pour into me so that I have more energy to give to all these other important things, the business, being a mom, etc. I love that. Love that. So your digestion has done a complete 180 since we started. Obviously, that's got to feel amazing. And you've dealt with the psoriasis, and that's improved a ton. So as a busy mom with a teenage son, he's a teenager now, right? He's
He
like
is 14.
15, 14.
14.
Okay. So how has that improved your relationship with your son and being a mom, having feeling, so much better with everything you've improved so far?
So our relationship has always been really great. That's something that I will stand on. But I will say in his teenage years it's a little different, because he's growing, we've got hormones, we've got attitudes, we've got all this other stuff. And I think that when I wasn't feeling the best, then I would allow, my fuse was a lot shorter with him. So I just wanted to be more in mom mode than anything else, because that's how I was surviving, is what it felt like. Like I just needed to keep him alive. Like that's what I thought in that moment. Like it doesn't matter, whatever I can do. So I will say that in taking the time for myself and me feeling better and waking up feeling great, I'm not waking up with a headache, or I'm not waking up with this, or I'm not too tired, or whatever the case may be, has really helped me have the patience with him to start learning his developing personality. He's now in his teenage years, how he talks, how he responds, all these different things. Because I just didn't want it to be that mom son respectful. Like I didn't want just that relationship. I did want to get to know him. And I firmly believe that whatever relationship we're building right now, it's going to withhold in the future. And, adult children that cut off their parents scares me so bad, that I'm like, I don't want to go down that route. So what can I fix right now? And because he's in his teenage years, and right now he's kind of in that place where he's like, oh mom, look at my muscles, I'm getting fit, let's do push-ups, let's try to learn this. I can't, he goes to the gym with me sometimes, but a lot of the times now he's working, so he's like, mom, I'm tired, I'm gonna come home, so I'm just like, that's okay. But he will still always be like, watch me do push-ups, let me see how many I can do. And he'll be like, how many can you do? So now it's kind of that building relationship, and it's become fun, it's still respectful, we're still mom and son. But I will say that my patience has come down so much, and I want to say that it's because I just feel so much better, and I'm not in the survival mode. Even though we've got all these things going on, survival mode of the outside stuff was one thing, but survival mode of me knowing that I felt like crap, but I still had to get up and go, I couldn't function, but I still had to be there, was very difficult. And so now I feel great. I'm doing it because I want to, I'm making every day the best day. And that with him has been such a turnaround. Like I love where we are right now. And of course we have our little issues, occasionally. He's still a
Oh yeah.
teenage boy, but no, I mean, overall, he's such a great kid, and I'm so happy with it. And I'm happy that I feel so good that I can be there for him, this was a really important thing, taking it back to his dad's health, because my son went through a time where he was really, really afraid to leave my side. And I think it was just a fear of he lost his dad and he knew it was health related, and I didn't want to put him in the same position with myself, thinking that he could lose me due to related issues. And he knew that I was struggling because I was dealing with all that, and he was watching me, I mean, pretty much like fall apart in front of his eyes. And I think he just had such a fear that I wasn't going to make it either. And so I was like, I have to kick something in gear. Right now, he sees me full of energy. He sees me full of life. He sees me going and doing. And that has slowly turned away, where he'll be like, Mom, I'm going to go hang out with a friend, or Mom, I'm going to go do this. So his independence is starting to come back. And I think it just stems from all of this, where he's like, she's healthy. I don't have to be afraid. I know she's going to be here for as long as God allows her to be with me. And I think it's really helped him with everything that he had going on too.
Wow, wow, that's amazing. Yeah, what a huge blessing that is when we're able to show up for our kids in the best way possible. That's incredible. I think ultimately, like, that's the biggest win of all, for sure, because that's what we're designed to do, is to
Yeah.
take care of our own. I love that. So you're constantly on the go. Like, just what we've talked about so far. You are, like I said, the busiest woman I think I know. Geez, not sleeping some nights just because you're working throughout the night. That's intense. So someone with your schedule and your responsibilities, how do you still make health a priority? Because I know there's someone watching this that they like, I work 50, 60, 70 hours. I have kids also. Like, how do you make time for all of that?
So I think, especially for women, I think we all have that driving factor. We're going to handle it no matter what. Like, women are top tier and we're going to take care of business. But I think that whenever you hit that time in your life when you know, like, one, you're not healthy, or two, you can't be there for your kids, three, you're looking in the mirror, you're not feeling good, you're looking at everybody else and you're like, they look good, but I don't look good, I don't feel good. There's something internal that just clicks. And if you were to make everything an excuse, we'd be stuck. Women don't make excuses like that, so a lot of the times it's if they don't have somebody to watch the kids, or they don't have a spouse who supports them in this, or maybe they're dealing with other issues. But I think ultimately, if a woman can get to a place where she wants this for herself that much, then there's nothing that's going to stop her, and the time is going to come. I'm at the gym sometimes. Last night I was there after 11 because I worked late and I went to the gym later. And it's that push to just be there and do it for yourself. And I think that if you can get a woman past that first hump of that insecurity and actually get her started, once she's started, you're not going to stop her. So she's gonna push, she's gonna do all the limits, and she's gonna show up for herself. And when she shows up for herself, she's gonna show up for her kids, she's gonna show up for her spouse, she's gonna show up for everything else. And it's just such a mindset change across the board. But sometimes we just let our kids win or our spouses win and everything else just stay on top of us, and we end up being pushed to the back burner. It happens to so many women, and unfortunately it's like a really, really it's a sad topic, I guess, to talk about, because I hate that for women. But I really do feel like if they can just get past that first little hump, we're going to see so many warriors out there. It's going to be so amazing. I think
Oh
it's amazing
yeah.
to see them grow.
Good. Yes, I agree. I agree so much, and it's cool to hear that, because I kind of, as a male, I put that together in my head, and I see that with a lot of the ladies that I help. But to hear you lay that out, that's just it's reassuring. So I'm like, yeah, like, if you can just get over that first hump and start, forcing that first couple weeks of momentum, you can make things happen. I love that. So, has there been a stressful week or a moment in life where life got in the way and you just maybe thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to completely fall off, but you still managed and still overcame, a stressful time?
Yes, 100%. And that's always going to happen. I mean, especially because we're taking care of so many people and so many things. Like, it's not always in your control. But I think that if you allow it, if you're a person that just allows excuses to take over, then that's where you're gonna fail. I'm definitely the friend and the person who's gonna be a pusher. I will solve anything and everything, and I'm gonna find, I'm gonna cut out all the excuses, and we're gonna see, this is how we're gonna fix it. So for like people in my life that are like, oh, we can't go because of this today, and I'm like, yeah, bring your kid, I'll hold on to them while you do your sets or whatever. So I'm like, I will push and I will find a way. Now for the women that don't have that type of support, it can get really easy to fall off and not jump back on. But like I said, I think that once you just get past that first hump, you're going to be fine. Like that mindset change is already there, that you're going to want to keep going back for you. And you'll see it. You'll see women that have been in and out of the gym for 10 years and their bodies aren't where they need to be, but they don't give up. They keep going back because they know internally, like, it's something that they want. It makes them feel good, but life just gets in the way sometimes and it can get really difficult. We were just talked about traveling. I had to push back a day. Sometimes I'm somewhere where there's no gym or there's nothing, and I'm like, well, what can I do? I can walk, or I can do something in the house, or whatever the case may be. And I come right back. I come back and I'm tired. I just was on a plane for this many hours. The very first thing I do is I walk in and I put my stuff down and I go to the store. I buy my food. I come back. I cook it before anything else, because if I don't do that, I'm already failing for the week. And so I have to kind of keep that momentum going, because I don't want to fail for the week and I want to make sure that I'm eating. If I don't have my food prepared, my days are too busy. I will end up not eating or just grabbing something that wasn't healthy. So that's kind of my preparation. And as for moms, we prepare for our kids, we prepare for everybody else. So why not do that for yourself?
100% spot on. And you show up to our Monday calls, because we have our 2 group coaching calls every week, and you do not miss ever. So when you show up on Monday, like, man, got back late, but I still meal prepped, I still hit my last workout on a Sunday, and like, you just bring the fire on those Monday calls. So I know your energy is being reciprocated by others on those calls too. It's so cool. I love that. So beyond the scale, well, let's talk about that actually. What has this how much has the scale changed? Like, how much weight have you dropped since we started?
So my scale this morning, as a matter of fact, was right about 148, I think 148 point something.
Wow.
My goal was 150. Am I done? Probably not. And I remember you telling me that, like, well, let's push for more. And I'm like, no, I'm good with 150. Like, that's just where I want to be. I'm 5'7", so I'm pretty tall, and I'm not a petite build, so I'm like, I'm good with that. And honestly, now I'm like, maybe I want to be a little more than 150, because I feel like I'm getting, and with my meal changes recently that I had to take out all this other stuff and I'm moving, I can feel myself getting like a little skinny. And I don't like that feeling. I don't like the little feeling of
Okay.
skinny. I'm like, I want to feel muscular and big and tight, and so, but the scale did show like 148 point, I don't remember what it was. And so seeing those numbers, and I was like, okay, I have always been thin my entire life. This weight gain did not happen until I was on steroids. So
Yeah.
that, me seeing a scale of 167, 168, I was like, no way. There is no way. And my friends are like, that's what we weigh, but I'm like, me internally, I never in my life had I even been close to that. So I sat, even when I was pregnant, I was at 128 when I was pregnant. Like, I was tiny. And so I'm like, after I had my son, I dropped down to 109 pounds, which was way too skinny, but that's just what happened during that time. So I sat at about 120 my entire life. And then out of nowhere, I'm 160 something. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to fix this. But then I jump on the scale this morning and it's sitting at under 150. And I'm like, holy cow, like, we did this. It's already, we're here.
Yeah, so it's been a roller coaster for you the last, what, I
Yeah.
guess 14 years then.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you woke up at 148 this week,
Hmm.
and so that's 20 pounds down that you've lost?
Yes.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. And improved your body composition too, because I know you've lost more than that in total body fat, but you've definitely improved some muscle mass as well in doing that. Are you enjoying the workouts that you're doing too?
Yes, I love the workouts. I think they get really challenging sometimes, in the sense that by the time that, like, I'll finish one, I'm like, I start really strong, and then I'm like, God, I'm really tired by this one. So I've had to like switch out. I'm not gonna do these back to back, because I can feel myself like not giving it that full all when I'm working out, and then I'll come back at the end with that one, and then I'm able to like push through it. But no, I love them, and I think the rowing and the other stuff that you have incorporated in there has been really helping. I can see it in my back drastically. I have always been had a wider back, and I've been like a very square build. Even when I was skinnier, I was more square. Still am pretty square, but I can definitely see it in my my bra clasps. I've had to like adjust those. And then I even have one that I'm like, I can't even wear this because it was way too loose already, like on around the bottom part of my chest, or I guess the top part of my like chest area. And so that was like really big, and having to and change all that. So I love the workouts. I think they're amazing. And I told you, we do the run on Thursday. So we are doing the run, and we started with the mile, 2 miles. We've kind of gone up. I don't run the whole thing if I can't get it all the way out, but we do complete the time, that the whole
Yes.
track. And so that's been really great. And that was something else I wouldn't do. Like, you add the 10,000 steps in there, and there could be days that I could be at my office and I would leave my office a 12-hour day and I'd be gone. And I would have 2,000 steps on my watch. And I'm like, I had no movement aside. That's like probably when I went to the restroom, or something.
Yeah.
And so now, like you say, you have to put those 10,000 steps. So I'm leaving my office and I'm like, let me go up and down my steps. I've got five floors in our building, and I'll go up and down them a couple of times. And then I'm like, okay, let me walk over here. And then I get to the house, and then I'm like, hey, Drew, you want to go for a walk with me? We've got a park down the street. And he'll be like, no, I don't want to go. And I'm like, all right, I'll be right back. I go walk the park, and by the time I come back, it's only about 15 minutes or so, and I'll get all my steps in. And then I'm like, okay, I can I can come back in. So definitely keeping the momentum and stuff going. So it's been great. I love
I
them.
love that. Heck yeah. Good. Good. So 20 pounds down, bra straps fitting better. What other non-scale victories? I know you've had to buy a new belt. You said you bought a pair of pants that you hadn't even worn once yet. You recently fit into those. Talk
I
about that for a
did.
minute.
I did. So jeans are so different than other, like the slack pants and my work pants. With jeans, I get a little bit more stretch. So, I could wear those and it didn't seem so bad. But I bought a pair of slacks, and those have no give in them. I didn't try them on. I thought they were cute when I saw them in the boutique. I bought them and I'm like, why wouldn't they fit? They were a medium. Did not even go up my thighs. Not. And I almost gave them away because I'm like, there is no way that these will ever fit me. And so I kept them. And then, after we started working together, I was like, oh, I'm going to try them on. Still did not go up my thighs. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not. And it's definitely a slack that has a smaller waist up top. They're a little higher. They sit higher. And
Okay.
so as I was losing weight, I'm like, I'll try them. Didn't fit. And finally I got them to where they went up, but they wouldn't close. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to hold on to them again. And yesterday I was like, I'm going to try these again. I had a board meeting with some finance people and other stuff, and I was going to have to be standing up front. And I was like, let me try these pants. And they fit. And they were not snug, nothing. They were around my waist. I tucked my shirt in. They look great. They fit great. I got so many compliments on the pants themselves because they're that cute and I couldn't wear them. So, I mean, just being able to put those on, like, man, that was so great. And like I said, those are a little different than jeans because jeans have a little more stretch. So
Yeah.
that was different. But I wear a lot of Western clothes, and I've got belts that go around my waist, with like skirts and other stuff. And I added holes to them, but now there's too many holes added to where like the beads and stuff no longer add up because it's just too small. So I asked my mom, I'm like, do you want these belts? And she's like, yeah, I'll take them. So she took the belts, because I'm like, these do not work for me anymore. I have to go get a smaller size. So
Wow. Wow.
I'm so happy with the results and everything that has changed from that, and my thighs had just been like really chunky, and I would wear the insides of my jeans out to where like I would literally put holes in the inside area of my jeans, and then it would end up
Wow.
ripping like underneath your butt cheek kind of. And so
Yeah.
I had that thickness to my legs, and so now it's like I they're not rubbing. I did wear dress to the concert, and I don't wear dresses like that very often, but I didn't have the burning sensation that you feel whenever you're getting that chafing, in between your legs either. Still, there is
Yeah.
still some chunkiness in there and stuff, but there's so many different changes that affect your day-to-day life that you don't even realize. Wearing a
Yeah.
pair of shorts without the pain, or wearing the skirt in the summer when you're sweating without the worry of having to chafe, putting on a belt that is a smaller size, putting on these slack pants that fit, changing your bra sizes, there's so many different things that are happening outside of just let me jump on the scale and see what this number is. So
Yes.
yeah, it's been so great.
I love that so much. I'm so proud of you. So take it back real quick, because when we started working together, one goal you had told me, you said, Esai, I have not worn shorts since I had my son. You just told me you wore a dress. Was that to the
I wore
concert
a
that you went
dress. I
to?
wore a dress to the concert. It was a long dress, but it did have slits up the side, so it did show like the front of my legs.
Okay.
I don't wear the shorts because I have that inner thigh fat that's like sits right there, and where the shorts land, I don't like the way it looks. That is the reason I will not wear a pair of shorts. I don't own a pair of shorts. I really cannot tell you the last time. I mean, I must have been before Adriel was born. Like, I don't wear them. And so that's one of my biggest insecurities. I have very long legs, and I have a lot of cellulite on my legs, and that was something that I've struggled with my entire life, even when I was skinny, was having cellulite on my legs. I'm at an age now where the cellulite is not what bothers me, and really that doesn't even shouldn't bother me really for anything else. But I do think, like, I am leaner, I am taller. Like, why do my legs still look like someone who doesn't work out? Why don't I have that definition and the tightness to them? So I still do let that insecurity win, and I don't put on the shorts. My goal is to wear a pair of shorts one day, so
Okay.
I'm still working towards that.
Got it. Got it. Okay. This is good. Heck yeah. Man, still so many wins, so many wins. What's something that you used to say to yourself about your body or your health that you would never say to yourself now?
That's a hard one. Yeah, it's a little bit of a hard one, because I do recall some things that I've said to myself that I definitely would never say again, and I think now I can look at my body and I'm so grateful. I only have one son, but it birthed him. I've made it this far. I've passed so many things that I don't even want to think about the negative things I said. I am very thankful for it. It moves me every day. It gets me to work. It gets me through activities, through walking. And it's so crazy because, if I go on a hike, I'm just like, oh, thank you so much for allowing this movement to happen. And I'm so grateful for it now. So I don't know. I mean, I can probably think of a few things, but I'd prefer not to. I
Yeah,
want to
that's
be
the best.
nice to it.
Yes, that's the best answer I think I could have asked for. That's perfect. I love that so much because there's so much science behind what we say to ourselves. So let's just leave that to the side. I love it. Okay. What's one thing that you eat now that maybe you never thought you'd be eating on a regular basis?
So everything I eat now, I've eaten in the past. I
Okay.
never thought that I would have ground turkey every single day for lunch, or chicken every single day for dinner. That was something that it just didn't happen. The food in itself can get, I know I've heard other people say like it gets a little tiring or bland or whatever the case may be. And I kind of just changed the way that I think when I'm eating. I just eat because I know it's fuel and it's going to be something that I definitely need.
Yes.
And so it just helps me kind of get through it. It's the taste doesn't matter. I mean, I season it and stuff, so it doesn't taste bad, but it definitely does change the fact that, like, I'm eating the same thing every day. Now, occasionally I'm like, yeah, I need to change something up or whatever, and I'll change one little thing for one meal, but never thought I would be doing chicken every single night and ground turkey every lunch. And I love my ground turkey now. I was eating it yesterday. I had a meeting, and I was like, I have to eat my lunch. I told my client, I was like, because I haven't eaten and I was starving. And he was sitting there like this, and I'm like, what? And he was like, is ground turkey not nasty? And I'm like, no. He's like, the texture. And I'm like, no. He's like, the flavor. And I'm like, no. He's like, you can eat that. And I'm like, I need to eat this. And you know what he told me? Just go do those peptides or just get on this. It'll get you the quick result. And I'm like, no, this is a long-term result, because this doesn't
Yeah.
only help my weight, it's helping. He doesn't know all the things that it's helping, right? But
Yeah.
I look at the
Exactly.
food and I'm like, I don't care. This is good food.
Yes, yes. When you can make that switch up and look at food as exactly what you said, this is nourishment. This is nourishing my body, not necessarily because it's highly palatable and it's delicious, but because I know this is what my body needs for fuel. When you can make that switch, the way you look at food and nutrients, I think that's the biggest game changer. I love that.
It's awesome. I hate to do this, but my laptop is about to die. Can I just grab my charger?
Oh yeah, go for it. Yeah. You're all good. We're at the end anyways. I only got two more for you.
You're good.
All right. So, is it good? Are you plugged in?
Yes, I'm plugged in. I'm good.
Okay. So, two more as we close this out. This has been incredible, Bianca. You have an amazing testimony. I love this. So, what would you say to the woman sitting at home right now who's dealing with some of the things, or maybe all the things that you were dealing with or still deal with, the digestion, the skin flare ups, feeling like your body's just working against you? What would you say to that woman?
I would say take a moment and think back to before you were a wife and a kid, or had kids, and you loved life and you thought, you were unstoppable. Because that woman can be found again with a different purpose this time. And if they can get there and just, like I said, just get that push and make that change for themselves, they can get to feeling back to when they were younger, that desire to live life again. Because I feel like for women, we kind of lose that a lot with, like I said so many times, taking care of other people or spouses or this or just so many things happening. So I have found, I remember thinking like, oh, I love my 20s or I love this or whatever the case may be. And then you get lost in it. And right now I think back and I'm like, okay, I'm closer to 40 now than I am to 20 or 30. And so then I'm like, I love life the same way I love life back then, with like such a different purpose, now for my son, now for the business, now for everything else for me. And I get it all the time because people are like, you're so happy or you're this. And I'm like, I genuinely am so in love with life right now. Like, but all these changes and all this stuff is what like just help get me there. And if they can just make that initial move, that jump, I know it can seem scary. You don't know what you're doing in the gym. You think you're going to be intimidated. Someone's going to make fun of you. No, it doesn't matter. Like, we're all in the same boat, all of us. I don't know how to do something perfect. I can still not squat for the life of me. I don't know what it is. I have to put weights underneath my or plates underneath my ankles and stuff, or my feet, because I'm like, I cannot have that bend. And if I let that stop me, every time I felt intimidated or something, like I would just be like everyone else, just wishing to want to look better and feel better. So I think that if you can just get past all of that, find the love for yourself again, the desire to live, but with the purpose that you're living now. Man, I'm so excited to see all these women make all the changes.
Wow, mic drop right there. That was incredible. That was incredible. I love your energy and I resonate with it so much. I receive that because I'm just like you. Like I swear I'm so high on life right now at my age also that like I'm in better shape than I was, at 27 that I am now at age 37 and I want to say the same thing in 10 more years at 47, So I feel that so much. I love that. You're incredible. So, lastly, maybe a similar answer, but I want you to think about this. What would you tell yourself 90 days ago, the version of you right before you started this program? What would you say to Bianca at that time?
Don't give up. Don't give up, because in the end, it's all going to be worth it. And for so many different aspects of your life, just the health, the skin. Just to tell you that this isn't only from just not having psoriasis anymore, but eating healthy, the water, everything. I'm going to show you because I feel like it's such a win. My hair is now down to here. For women, hair loss has been such a big thing. I went through the hair loss with psoriasis, couldn't get it back. All of this has caused my hair to just rapidly grow. I do like the oils and everything else, but I like on my page, that's what I get a lot of my questions on, because my stuff was more health and hair journey for a long time. And so back then I would have been like, keep going, because if you would see that in 90 days, your hair is going to be long again and full of life, and your skin, yes, a small flare up, but I'm getting compliments on my skin being clear, and it's just like, oh, you're glowy, you're full of life. My clothes feeling better, my energy, loving life again, living for me, putting myself first, setting those boundaries with people. All of this has come from within the last 90 days of starting this program, and would I have believed that back then? No, because I was a pushover and I would just let everything else win. So
Mm,
all of this right now has changed. And for me, one of the biggest things was my hair, because of that. That was such a big part of my journey.
yeah.
And now I look at it and I'm like, look how much has grown. I've gone through 3 haircuts in the last 3 months because it just keeps like weighing down. And I'm like, man, and the women will reach out and they're like, hey, I saw you were in a similar boat. How did you do it? And that's been one of the biggest things, I think, has been the hair part with all this change that people have noticed. And that's where I get a lot of my engagement from is the
Yeah.
hair. So
Wow.
don't give up. I would 100% tell myself, like, it's going to be worth it. You're going to have some days where it's hard. You don't know if you have the time. And I will say, give yourself grace, because I'm a little hard on myself, and I'm very much like, I'm all in or I'm not in. And so learning that I may not make it today, but I can make it tomorrow is okay. That was really rough. I was really big on, I had to have my dishes washed because I couldn't leave them in the sink because that would just give me anxiety. So a lot of this has helped in so many ways to kind of let go of some of those things that are not as important, but that I thought were in my control. And now I am kind of helping my own self with the things that I can control. And then it's just helping everything else around me.
Yeah, I love that so much. Oh my gosh, so good. So good, Bianca. You're incredible. Thank you for doing this,
Of
for your time
course.
today. I know how busy you are, so this means a lot to me. Take your time out of your day to do this. Any last minute thoughts or any last things that you
I
wanted to
do
say to
have a
everybody?
question for you.
Okay,
What made you decide to go into women's health?
that's a great question. So, a couple different reasons. For one, they when going into this industry, people are like, you have to find the person that you want to help the most. And I'm like, who do I want to help the most? And so, honestly, being a girl dad and growing that plays a huge role in it now as she's 18 and she's entering adulthood and all the things gotten into. She's been super athletic, but like I want to be able to help guide her to the best of my ability as a dad, but also you're gonna get me emotional now. But
Aw,
growing up in a household where like my mom was always on a diet. She was always like the Atkins diet, the South Beach diet. It was always like low carb, this, low fat, that. It was Weight Watchers. It was all the things. And seeing her, growing up with that, seeing her struggle through all of those, that played a big piece into it because I want to be able to help that woman when she was at that state. And I had no control over it at that time. I was just a little kid. So now it's like looking back, I'm like, okay, if I can help my mom from 20 years ago, like I'm preventing that from other households in the future, like other moms. And my mom's down 50 pounds, by the way, so she is also
that's
crushing it. So
awesome.
that's really like that. Yeah, my no one's ever asked me that before, but yeah, my mom's a huge driver in that big time. And then,
That's amazing.
being a girl dad also, it's just like it's just too fitting. I've just been so blessed to be around such amazing women in my life that it's fitting for me, I guess. And yeah, I enjoy it to the max. 100%. So I appreciate you asking me though, but that's really
Well, and
like
I
the
will
core of
say,
it.
as a woman, I initially thought a woman would be what would help me the best. You know, they know me. I won't have any issues with talking about anything with women. But in my experience, the women have always been a little more judgmental. And not that you're not judgmental, you hold accountability where it needs to be. But there was, in my experience, there was a sense of, I don't know, like clickiness that came from the women and then the judgment that came from the women and their desire to help would be there, but then their like the push out wasn't, I guess. And
Mm,
so when you reached out and then we got down this road, I was like, am I going to be able to do this with a man? Because I don't know, like I don't know how comfortable. But I'm a pretty like open book. I'll talk to anybody. And like I said, and your personality is so great, so it's so fitting because you do give us that room to feel comfortable with you, to open up, to tell you exactly what's going on, and know that you're going to help with the genuine with genuine intentions. Because I do see that, and so I think the women's industry is great for you. I was just wanting to know what your desire behind jumping into this field was.
yeah. Oh, that's cool. I really appreciate that. And I do receive that. That means a lot coming from you, Bianca. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. Thank you. It's been incredible to work with you and it's gonna be incredible continuing this journey. Like this is awesome. You've
Yeah,
been
we're
so
not
great
done.
and yeah, 100%, 100%. We're in it for the long run. So this is great. Awesome. Any last minute thoughts or questions? Anything else you wanted to cover?
I think I'm good. Thank you so much
Okay.
for this. This was awesome.
Yeah, thank you again for your time. We'll wrap it up here. I'll let you go about your work day because I know you have 90 hours of work to do for the rest of today
For
alone.
today.
So cool, Bianca. We'll be in touch, and yeah, we'll chat in the next couple days on your check-in day.
Sounds good. Thank
All
you.
right, have a good day. Yep.
Bye.
Bye.